which is on the, and this is a national level webinar on portrayal of women, and the topic of our webinar is the portrayal of women, and has the portrayal of women changed in digital era. And for that, we have an eminent personality with us, and their name is Daivata Patil ma'am. Let me introduce Daivata Patil ma'am first. Now, Daivata Patil ma'am is currently associated with faculty member with Department of Communication and Journalism, University of Mumbai. She's also associated with Onzo Arts Production as a creative producer since 2016. She produced Marathi feature film named Barayan in 2016, and that movie is released theatrically in Maharashtra and received very well from the audience. Now, she is also currently associated as Africa Asia Global Scholar Network, UK, as an Assistant Director, Research and Technical. She is also the Maharashtra State President, Women Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for their Information and Broadcasting Council. And ma'am is also on the Executive Board of Public Relations Society of India, Mumbai chapter. So, ma'am is here with us, and we can start the session, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Prashant. And thank you, S.S.T College, for inviting me. I prefer my talk to be more interactive. So if there are any questions, comments, or anything that you would like to share with me or with your fellow participants, please keep commenting on YouTube, and Prashant will be moderating it for me.
Yes, sir.
So the topic is, has women's portrayal changed in the digital era? I'll start with basics first. I think digital world or digital media has impacted our lives very immensely. So I don't think so that any of us are not using digital media. So some way or the other, we are compelled, or we either like it or we are compelled to use a digital media. And therefore, understanding women's portrayal from digital media, or what digital media is doing to women's portrayal, is also important. A lot has been already discussed on women's portrayal in traditional media. You'll find a lot of research papers that talk about stereotyping, that talk about women biases, that talk about gender equality issues in traditional media. All traditional media, not only advertising, but we will talk about advertising also. So what has happened is, it's very important that now that in the digital media, a lot of us are bombarded with digital audiences, in virtual spaces, in online world. Do you really think that things have changed when it comes to women's portrayal in digital world? That is something which we need to discuss, and that is today's topic. So I will first talk about how our shift has happened to digital world, and why, if at all, there are changes in the portrayal of women in digital world. Why has it changed? And then probably, if we get time, we will discuss a couple of examples. So in traditional media, what were the major concerns which were talked about when it comes to women's portrayal, be it cinema, or be it women in newspapers or magazines, women in print advertisements, and women in audiovisual advertisements? Everywhere, portrayal of women has always been a point of discussion. So what was argued traditionally was women's roles are stereotyped. They are typically shown as housewives, or very gender stereotypical roles of somebody who is working all the time, somebody who is in the kitchen. Or there were issues of objectification of women's body in non products, like deodorant for men, or shaving cream for men. Over there also women were used. So 70% or more than that, you'll find that advertisements carry women. Either it is a product meant for women, or even if it is a product not meant for women, you'll find women are predominantly used in advertisements. So the argument of objectification of women's body, I don't think so that has changed in the times of digital world. So you'll find that even today, digital world advertisements do carry that same notion of stereotyping of women's body or carrying that biases in digital world. So has the media really changed the way women are portrayed in advertisement? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. So women have changed, women's portrayal has changed, and it has not changed also. I mean, I think I know I'm self-contradicting, but I'll talk about both the aspects. Women's portrayal has changed because there are a lot of working women now in the workspace, and there are a lot of women who are creating these stories for women. So that in that context, women's portrayal has changed in advertisement, including digital advertisement. And women's portrayal has not changed. We still carry that stereotypical notions and being biased portrayal of women is still there. That is because a lot is yet to change in the society, the way society works or societal frameworks needs to be changed. So you can't just blame advertisers for the kind of portrayal women have in advertising, or for that matter, in any media, including traditional and digital. I think a lot has got to do with how women are treated in our societies, how men and women rather are treated in societies, not only women. I mean, always in my talks, I always say that we are focusing on wrong gender. We should be, whenever we talk about gender equality, we should be talking about both the genders, men and women. So it can't be just women and their portrayal that needs to be focused. Equally, we should also focus on how men are portrayed, how men are shown in advertisement. So if you want change in the way genders are represented in advertisement or in any other media, you can't just focus on women's portrayal. You need to also focus on men's portrayal. So if a woman is shown as a very weak person, a vulnerable person in advertisement, a man should also not, on the other hand, be shown as a Superman. Or on the contrary, if a woman is not shown as a vulnerable character, and if you really want to show or highlight on gender equality or gender parity, what has happened of late is you've started showing women as superwomen. So I have problem to that also. We'll talk about it a bit later. But first thing first, that why women's portrayal has changed and why women's portrayal has not changed. So we need to start from how our societies are functioning, how the members of society look at gender, how they look at men in society, how the women in society are looked. And I think all media, be it cinema, be it digital media or advertisement, is a reflection of what our society carries. The notions, the ideas, the philosophies of society are carried, are reflected in media, including advertisement. So if at all we want to change the way gender is portrayed, and I don't mean only women here, we need to change our societal framework for a very long-term change of portrayal, that the ideal portrayal that we seek as communicators or as researchers or as creators of these advertising messages. So that is one part of it. Secondly, I said that women's portrayal has changed in society, in advertisements, because women, there are more number of working women now in the media industry. So earlier, the messages were made by men, so how they perceived gender, including men and women, that is how the stories were, these 30-second stories were designed, and they were focusing on a particular gender. So obviously, objectification of women, stereotyping of women happened because there was only one gender which was perceiving the other gender. So now, post-globalization, we see that a lot of women have joined the workforce. And there is an advantage of it because now women are also contributing to the media messages. And it's been almost, in the past 30 decades, 3 decades, 30 years, some of these women have also reached to leadership position. I will not say all of them, but some of these women have reached to leadership position, and therefore a lot is discussed in the corporate world of how these women should be portrayed, or corporates in general have become very aware of gender equality and gender parity, and therefore you'll find that these debates are there in every aspect, including advertisement. So you'll find that to that extent, advertisement are carrying a more gender neutral or a less stereotypical way of projecting women in advertisement. So that is a good sign. However, I feel that there is a problem in the way recent advertisements have shown the portrayal of women. I won't say all advertisement, but most of the advertisement, in an urge to show gender equality, end up being biased or not being equal in the way they are projecting women and men in advertisement. So what happened, what the argument which was discussed in previous time, that men are at a higher level and women are shown at a weaker section. Are we also doing the same thing to women? So when women are shown in advertisement, they are shown as super women. You see, of late in a lot of advertisements, there is a debate on gender equality. There are efforts by advertisers to show women in a more positive and more powerful or more professional side of women comes in advertisement. So you talk about the ad of Vicks, wherein traditionally the older Vicks ads carried that it is the woman who is applying Vicks to the child, and it is the woman's responsibility to take care of the child when he's not feeling well. To the recent Vicks ad, which showed that the father is taking care of the child and woman is out of station, out of home, and she's on a video call, trying to connect with the child. So I raised that there are two issues to this advertisement. One, you are showing women in a very, how should I put it? She's taking efforts to adjust the work and life. Most of these women who are shown as professional women are also shown as somebody who's struggling with work-life balance. So if you compare Vicks ad only, the previous Vicks ad didn't show a man on a video call or a man who's also trying to take care of the child, and whereas in the women advertisement, they've shown that a woman is trying to connect through a video call, and her presence is also there. So this somewhere points out that when a woman is working, she has to also strike a work-life balance. That means she has to also take care of her house and children and other household chores, apart from being a working woman. But on the contrary, when men are shown, when they were shown previously also, and even today, very few, barring one or two exceptions, we don't see that work-life debate or work-life balance debate is visible in men's portrayal. So when men are there, they are not struggling or juggling between their office work and then trying to connect with the child at home. So that is a problematic portrayal, according to me. Secondly, when women are shown as professionals, they are shown as super women, superheroes, where you tend to put them in a heroic position, as compared to earlier advertisements where they were vulnerable and weaker. But in today's advertisement, they're shown as superhero or super women. I don't think so. Men in traditional advertisements carried that Superman kind of attitude. They were neutral. So there was a problem in earlier advertisements where men were shown in their traditional societal roles and women were shown as weaker. Now what has happened is you're showing women as a stronger character, but in that process, you are putting them in a heroic position. You're saying that these are superwomen because they are able to strike a balance between life and professional world. This, in a long term, is setting up a message that if you are a working woman, if you are going out, back then you also have to take care of your child and your house. So you can't be just a working professional. Or if at all you are just a working professional, in most of the portrayal, I'm not particularly talking about advertising, I'm talking about other media aspects also. So if at all you are just a working professional, you are shown as a character who is not married or is a divorcee or who is a single woman. So when you are single, when you don't have family responsibility, then only you can be just a professional woman. That aspect of portrayal we need to really change. I don't remember the advertisement, but there was one ad where it was a train waiting room and a woman was breastfeeding the child, not breastfeeding, feeding the child, and there enter two women. It is a digital advertisement on the occasion of International Women's Day. And you see that a woman is talking on the phone. She starts and she says that I can't bear, I can't be pregnant because my body will get affected and my modeling career has just started. So it starts with a woman entering in the frame, and then all three women are in the train waiting room, and there's this another woman who is getting irritated because there's this third woman who's trying to console, or her child is crying and she's trying to feed the child. And in these three characters, the one woman who had the child in her hand, she's wearing a sari, she's wearing a bindi, a traditional Indian attire, whereas the other two women who were getting irritated by this child's crying sound are modern. They are wearing Western clothes, and the story starts with the woman saying that if I become pregnant, I think it is I can add. And this woman says that I can't be pregnant because it will affect my body. So this advertisement somewhere was designed to show empowered women, but I feel that that is not happening. What you are doing is you are ending up stereotyping women. So a woman who takes care of a child, is dressed in Indian attire, is shown as more humble, and the one who's not doing it is arrogant and getting irritated by the child's crying. And towards the end, it is shown that this woman is actually a police officer and not a housewife, but a working woman. I mean, then you end up showing the end plate where she's getting saluted by her subordinates and stuff like that. What are you doing? You're trying to show women in a very super heroic position that, okay, fine. See how she's able to strike a balance between her child who's crying, who's proud of her motherhood, and also somebody who's at a higher position, somebody who's an IPS officer. Whereas other women who are getting irritated are modern dressed and are not supporting the idea of motherhood. That is a problem which we need to really address to, as advertisers, that in the urge or on the verge of showing women as more stronger and more powerful characters, are we really ending up stereotyping them? So we need to change it. But on the contrary, there are some good advertisements which have shown or which have tried to break the stereotyping relationships like mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. So you take the advertisement of Cadbury, wherein the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law dancing. But more than that, there isn't this advertisement of 1mg, where 1mg of pharmacy, one of the medicine order app, where the woman is divorced and she's still ordering medicine for her mother-in-law, and she says that we still share a bond. So these advertisements are also there, which promote the idea of sisterhood or womanhood, and they say that we should start looking beyond the traditional roles of daughter-in-law and mother-in-law. So these advertisements are there. So what makes different, that why digital world or digital world advertisement needs to be discussed, is because in the traditional advertisement, television advertisements specifically, you had to convey story in 30 seconds because these were very expensive, and charging per second was it charged. It was very expensive for the advertisers. So 30 second में अगर आपको story बतानी है, so the focus was more on products. It was more product-oriented message. Many a times it lacked human angle. I will not say all the time, many a times, because you had the challenge of conveying the story in 30 seconds along with the product information. But in digital advertisements, that compulsion of telling a story in 30 seconds has, I think, is not there. I mean, you can make 1 minute ad. There are some brand films which are made of 3 to 5 minutes also. So the story is more detailed. There's more human angle to digital stories, and therefore, women portrayal, I see, is a little different than what it used to be in traditional advertisement. Also, women are using social media a lot. There were a lot of researches which showed that how women are becoming more and more consumers of digital media, and therefore there should be more advertisement which cater to a 50% of your target audience, which is women. And therefore you'll see that, and digital media by default, it talks about more literate, more modern, more urban audiences who are on digital media. Of course, now tier 2 and tier 3 city audiences are also consuming digital media, but most of it still comprise of your urban population. I'll talk about impact of digital media on rural audiences if we have time towards the end. But right now, I would like to focus on this aspect that most of these digital media audiences are modern, they are urban, they are young, and therefore somewhere the stories, the narrative style has changed because the audience composition has changed. So your television audiences are different than your digital media audiences. And therefore, what works for television audiences, the advertisement that are made for television audiences may not work for digital media audiences. And therefore, you'll find that there is a change in the way women are portrayed in digital advertising. So what you should be doing when you are conceptualizing advertisement for digital world. I mean, some tips that I feel are some observations which I have seen is that you should not generalize when you are advertising or when you are conceptualizing an advertisement for digital media. Stop generalizing, stop stereotyping your marketing messages. Get away with this notion of pink is for girl. So ditch the pink color in advertisement, because that is another way of stereotyping women. So you'll find that if it is a women-related product, it should be, all pink everywhere. Break the biases, traditional biases that were there in advertisement, like women as housewives or women as a character who's trying to strike a work-life balance. Such narratives needs to change. Then I've also seen that when women are shown in digital advertisement, they are generally more human, and they are more inclusive, and then they are more emotionally strong. There should be, we really need to change this portrayal also. It should not, I'm not saying that women should not be shown as emotionally strong or more independent. I'm saying that both the genders should be presented in equal manner. It should not be only women who's slightly presented in an upper manner than a man. So those are some things which you need to really, address to, or tell women's story. Now, when you're saying telling women's story, it doesn't mean that you're showing women who's an IPS officer or a woman who's in an armed uniform. Of course, those portrayal are also needed, but that doesn't mean that all the advertisement should carry. So when a woman is progressing, she will progress only when she has joined army or she's joined as an IPS officer, or you're trying to break the stereotyping by saying woman is driving a rickshaw or some stuff like that. In the traditional roles, also women can be shown as empowered. So when you're talking about women empowerment, it doesn't mean that women have to be shown always as a professional, working professional. I mean, we still have a large number of women who are not working, they are housewives. So does that mean that if you're a housewife, you're not empowered? So we also need to look at, or we need to change the portrayal of housewives. So a housewife who's at home can also be shown as equally empowered. And I think there are some efforts made by some advertisers wherein the housewife is also supported by the father-in-law, or share the load campaign of, I think it was Ariel, that also talks about that, okay, fine, you can just share the load, household work, and it should not be only housewife which is doing most of the course. So I'm not saying that there are no efforts by advertisers to change the traditional roles of women in home, but I think we need more of such advertisement, where if we are talking about gender equality, it should not be only professional women or working women who are highlighted. We also need to include housewives, we need to include elderly, and also show them in a more stronger position. A woman who is having a stronger opinion, or rather who is having an opinion in-house. That I think will definitely, change the way our societal equations are. So fine, I do understand that media messages are a reflection of society, but media messages have a very strong impact on the way society functions. So whatever is shown in media is also influencing society. So we need to have more positive images of women in advertisement, or any other media for that matter, to get that gender equality, or in the offline or in the society. One of the ways of doing it is we should hire more women in the workforce. So if we have more women, it will automatically bring the women narrative in the limelight. So we should not have men conceptualizing ideas for women. We should have women who are conceptualizing ideas for women and the man. And that will definitely change the way advertisements are made, because it is my story as a woman which I'm trying to show on, or which I'm trying to conceptualize for myself or for other women. Another interesting aspect of digital world is, like I said, that there are more number of women who are consuming digital world. But apart from that, you will also find that there are influencer marketing and stuff like that, which is growing up. So there are more women media influencers also in which are shown. So they are used in influencer marketing. So the way they will connect with their audiences is also part of digital marketing, if not advertising. So that is also going to change the way women will be, represented in the near future. So I'm not saying that it is very bad, but I say that there is scope for improvements for the way women are, portrayed in the digital world. Another aspect which we need to address to as women's portrayal is how diversified women are shown. So, like I said, that we need to have more housewives. So similarly, we need to have more diversity in the way women are portrayed. So they should be from different backgrounds. They should be from different geographical locations. They should be from different professional backgrounds. So I see that there was this one advertisement where Northeast women was shown in advertisement. And I think, if I'm correct, it was for the very first time a Northeast character was shown at the center of advertisement. So those kind of portrayals are needed. So women from down south, women from Northeast, from different geographical location needs to be shown on screen. Women of different color. Why it should be only fair women all the time? We need to have brown-skinned women. We need to have dark-skinned women who should be, used in advertisement. I conducted a research, I think 3 or 4 years ago, wherein I was trying to measure the cultural diversity shown in advertisement in case of both men and women. And one of the major striking conclusion was that almost 99% of the advertisements carried fair-skinned people, women and men. So men, at least the percentage was up to 80%. So they were either fair or brown-skinned. But in case of women, there were 99% of women were fair-skinned. Of the 1%, they were brown-skinned. So we didn't see any dark-skinned women in advertisements, which is a problem. So of course, of late there have been debates on dark-skinned women, and they are talking about inclusivity, especially in the products of cosmetics. I think it's only in the cosmetic products where we see a dark-skinned women. I don't see dark-skinned women in other product categories. So that is something which we need to look at, that we need to have our women coming from more diverse backgrounds in terms of religion, in terms of caste, in terms of gender, in terms of color, in terms of geographic location. So how many women are shown from other communities? So we see most of, so in my research paper, I had also studied religion of women and men who were shown in advertisement. And I found that almost 50 to 60% of the advertisement did not either reveal the religious identity of the character, or remaining 40%, most of them talked about Hindus. So where are Muslims in advertisements? There are Christians in advertisements. There are other minority communities in the advertisement. We don't see them. So when we are talking about portrayal of women, I'm saying that there should be portrayal of women from all diverse backgrounds, and by women only. In fact, it should be the case with men also. So there should be portrayal of men from all diverse backgrounds. Only then, we just can't focus on women and gender and then say that, okay, portrayal of a lot of issues will change in advertisement. We need to understand that if at all we want to make advertisement more inclusive, we need to add this inclusivity from various lenses and not just gender. So that is something which we need to. So to change the portrayal on screen, we need to have more changes happening in off-screen portrayal of men and women, off-screen portrayal of religion, or geographical location, or stereotyping. All of it needs to change off-screen. Only then that will change on-screen portrayal. I'll stop for a while and I'll check if there are any questions or any comments from my audiences over there. And then probably we'll continue. Shashank?
Yeah, ma'am.
Now, are there any comments or anybody who would like to contribute?
Yes, we got some questions also. So I'll read out the question for you.
Sure.
So the very first question is the advertisement influence society by portraying women in a certain way, or the society influence the advertisements which have been made? So that is about what is affecting to or the society or the advertisements.
I think this is a very classic debate of chicken and egg. कि पहले मुर्गी आई या पहले अंडा आया. और मीडिया के मामले में भी ऐसा ही होता है कि we clearly cannot demarcate that society की वजह से मीडिया चेंज हुआ है या मीडिया की वजह से सोसाइटी चेंज हुई है. मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि दोनों एक दूसरे को चेंज करते हैं। तो जो सोसाइटी में चेंज होता है या जो भी सोसाइटी में दिखता है होता है, उसी का रिफ्लेक्शन जो है वो मीडिया में होता है। तो आपका एडवर्टीजमेंट इज ऑल्सो अ रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन सोसाइटी। आपके घर के ट्रेडिशनल रोल्स में अगर माओं का किरदार नहीं चेंज हो रहा है, माएँ are shown as weaker sections or vulnerable sections or the one who is doing all the household work. And I think till today, you'll find that most of these women are doing more than 90% of the household work. So if that is what is happening in our day-to-day life, in our households, I think advertisement is just an extension of these households. So आपके घरों में जब तक ये पोर्ट्रेयल, ये प्रोजेक्शन नहीं चेंज होगा, वुमेन्स की पोजीशन नहीं चेंज होगी, वो एडवर्टीजमेंट में नहीं आएगा। तो मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले एक मुद्दा जो मिस किया था कि आप जो देख रहे हो अर्बन क्लास जो डिजिटल मीडिया में यूज कर रहे हैं, ये एक बहुत छोटा क्लास है। आज भी आपका almost 60 to 70% of the population is from tier 2, tier 3 cities. So आप जो ग्रोथ और जो इंक्लूसिविटी की बात कर रहे हो, इट इज जस्ट अ टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग। तो ये जो डिस्कशन है, ये पेट भरने के बाद का है, जैसे हम कह सकते हैं कि आपका ना अर्बन सेक्टर में, अर्बन नेक्सस में दिस डिस्कशन which is a good thing. I'm not saying that at least we have started discussing gender equality and gender parity in certain sections, but I'm saying that today also a large number of people, उन तक ये डिस्कशन के सोच भी नहीं पहुंची है। Forget discussion. So I always say that we may have digital growth in the world, in across worldwide, including India, but इंडिया में हम अभी भी, हमारे पास भारत और इंडिया, ये दो अलग अलग कॉन्सेप्ट एक साथ एग्जिस्ट करती है। तो हम किस इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं, क्या हम किस हिंदुस्तान की बात कर रहे हैं, हम इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं या हम भारत की बात कर रहे हैं? तो एक रूल जो है वो सबको नहीं लगाया जा सकता। तो अगर हम पोर्ट्रेयल ऑफ वुमेन की भी बात करते हैं, तो ये चेंज हुआ है, ये इंडिया में चेंज हुआ है, लेकिन भारत में अभी भी बहुत सारी चीजें चेंज होनी बाकी है। एक एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको दूंगी। इट्स अ वेरी ओल्ड एडवर्टीजमेंट, टाटा टी अग्नि, जो टाटा टी का अग्नि जो वेरिएंट है वो जब बना था, एंड दिस वाज शेयर्ड बाय वन ऑफ द पर्सन हु वाज इन द कांसेप्ट डिस्कशन ऑफ द एडवर्टीजमेंट। I'll not name the person, but what he said was कि टाटा अग्नि जब एड बनी और उन्होंने कहा कि अग्नि was a fire and they wanted to show a very dynamic side of women in the advertisement. तो उन्होंने जो कैरेक्टर्स यूज किए थे एडवर्टीजमेंट में, वो डॉक्टर्स थे, वो पुलिस थे, वो आर्मी में थे, वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग लेवल हेडेड कैरेक्टर्स व्हिच वर यूज्ड इन अग्नि एडवर्टीजमेंट। और उसके बाद जब एड टेस्टिंग हुआ इस एडवर्टीजमेंट का, तो दे गॉट टू डिफरेंट रिएक्शंस। तो women from urban India liked the advertisement very much, but women from rural India criticized the advertisement. They didn't like the women empowerment aspect which was highlighted in advertisement. They said कि ऐसी औरतें बच्चों को खाना थोड़ी बनाएंगी, ऐसी औरतें बच्चों की पढ़ाई थोड़ी लेंगी, तो क्या फायदा? और ऐसी औरतें घर में चाय थोड़ी बनाएंगी, क्योंकि टाटा अग्नि चाय की ब्रांड है, तो ये औरतें थोड़ी चाय बनाने वाली हैं। And that I think was, and this is Agni, I am talking about 2000 ka period, which when digital media was not there. Later on, they changed the strategy and they had two different versions of advertisement for two different Indias. So आपका एक मैसेज जो है वो पैन इंडिया नहीं चल सकता, और डिजिटल की वजह से एक सबसे बड़ा एडवांटेज आपको ये है कि आपका जो टारगेट कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है वो बहुत हेवीली हो सकता है, जो अदरवाइज ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया में नहीं होता था। ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया में जब आप कोई भी मैसेज बनाते हो तो आप टारगेटेड मैसेज को ज्यादा ध्यान नहीं देते हो, क्योंकि आप मेजॉरिटी के ऊपर फोकस करते हो। टारगेटेड मैसेजेस भेजना जो है वो एक्सपेंसिव अफेयर हो जाता है। तो जब आप टेलीविजन के लिए एडवर्टीजमेंट बनाते हो तो आप एक मेजॉरिटी ऑफ ऑडियंस को ध्यान में रख के कहते हो कि अच्छा 70% ऑफ माय ऑडियंस, 80% ऑफ माय ऑडियंसेस थिंक लाइक दिस, while there are 20% of audiences who do not agree to the message. I realize that, I know that, but I would still go with the 80% of the chunk. It's a business at the end of the day. So that I know that I am stereotyping, I am projecting women or men in a very biased manner, but that is how the 80% of audiences want the message to be. So I can't blame advertisers entirely for the kind of portrayal we have we have right now. So टाटा अग्नि का ही एडवर्टीजमेंट अगर आप देखोगे तो women themselves did not like the very strong portrayal of women. So answering to your question, whether society reflects or whether it is advertising which reflects. So this is one example ki how society gets reflected in advertisement. The other example I would like to quote is in our department, one of the students did a research on Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign. Okay, and she did a survey of town area, Pune के आसपास जो town area है, वहाँ पे she did a study, and she was looking at कि बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ campaign जो है government का, वो कितना successful हुआ है, and how many middle and lower middle class जो group है वहाँ पे, how many of them have agreed to send their girl child to school. और अच्छा खासा around I think 100-150 का survey audiences था उसका. Very interesting, finding was there are girls being sent to schools. They have agreed that girl child education is important, but not because of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign. So very few of them were aware of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign. They said, it was a Marathi audiences joke. They said that they watch Zee Marathi and the women characters on Zee Marathi are very strong. और जो पढ़ी लिखी है वो बहुत strongly अपना opinion दिखाती है. इसीलिए हम चाहते हैं कि हमारी बच्चियां वैसे strong women character बने. And therefore they were sending their girl child to school. And most of these narrative came from women, the mother and not the father. तो जब हम कह रहे हैं कि मीडिया का क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है हम पे, तो मीडिया का ये इम्पैक्ट होता है हम पे, जहाँ पे कैंपेन नहीं सक्सेसफुल हुआ, लेकिन बच्चे जो है वो बच्चियां जो है वो स्कूल में भेजी जा रही है बिकॉज ऑफ एडवर्टीजमेंट, और नॉट एडवर्टीजमेंट बट टेलीविजन सोप कैरेक्टर्स. So advertisement is also part of media, so I will say that what stronger characters you show in advertisement will definitely have positive impact on society. So both of them affect each other. Is there any other question?
Yeah, ma'am. So there's one more question is there. So by showing women in a heroic position, don't you think we are taking out women from one stereotyped image and putting her into another stereotype position? Do you think so?
Absolutely. I think I highlighted on that aspect only, that why are we showing women as superwomen? Why can't we just show men and women in the normal spaces? So अगर हमको women को दिखाना है gender equality, gender parity की अगर हम बात करें, तो women को हमको superwomen नहीं दिखाना. I mean, we don't have to do that. I mean, forget advertisement. I always say that, when there are female protagonist films also, many a times we show that these female protagonist women are superheroes. So आपकी पुरानी फिल्में ले लो, जैसे खून भरी मांग से आपके a lot of films which were on domestic violence and marital rape, like Daman, and you had Provoke, where Aishwarya Rai was there, और दामिनी जो मीनाक्षी शेषाद्री की थी, या आज के दौर में थप्पड़, and there are other films. How are you showing these women? So these women are behaving like man. So when you have to be powerful, when you have to be strong, you have to behave like a man. I think there is a problem in the way these portrayals happen. I mean, why can't we show women seeking legal remedy for the bad things that are happening to her? Why is she taking a weapon and start killing like the heroes of the film? तो आप औरतों को जब दिखा रहे हो, तो आप उनको, औरतों और मर्दों दोनों को, आप उनको उनके नॉर्मल स्पेसेस में दिखाइए, तो आपको वो कैरेक्टर्स नॉर्मल दिखाई देंगे. सुपर हीरो जैसे नहीं होता है, वैसे सुपर वुमेन भी नहीं होना चाहिए. तो आप जेंडर इक्वालिटी कैन नॉट बी इम्बैलेंस. वी आर जस्ट एंडिंग अप creating another stereotype and creating another imbalance in society. I hope I've answered that question. Any more questions, Prashant?
Yeah, ma'am. There's one another question is there, and this is about the advertisements. Advertisements which are shown in the Indian society, especially. So the question is, why only women showed in the Indian detergent or soap advertisements? Why don't men show?
I think that is why Ariel advertisement is more important, because it talked about share the load. And I think Ariel was the first brand which tried to highlight that why should women do the laundry? So that idea, stereotypical idea was broken by Ariel, and this hashtag share the load campaign बहुत अच्छा successfully चला. So yes, detergent ads, most of them carry women because, again I say, most of the detergent or laundry at home is done by women. So आपका खरीदने वाला कौन है? तो औरतें हैं. Ultimately आप advertisement message उनके लिए बनाते हो जो आपका खरीददार है. तो जब तक का कंज्यूमर की डेफिनेशन नहीं चेंज होगी, तब तक एडवर्टीजमेंट का पोर्ट्रेयल भी नहीं चेंज होगा. तो जैसे आपकी सोसाइटी में कंज्यूमर की डेफिनेशन चेंज होगी, वेयर मोर मेन गो एंड बाय डिटर्जेंट, गो आउट एंड बाय डिटर्जेंट, I think then that will get reflected in advertisement also. So I don't see anything wrong in advertisement where women are shown. I have a problem with the way how women are shown in advertisement. It's not the problem of why women are shown. It is how they are shown. So it's okay if there are more women in detergent advertisement, but we should also have men in detergent advertisement. Why can't we just have at least वो धो रहा है या कपड़े झटक के ऊपर डाल रहा है या वॉशिंग मशीन के सामने है और वो वाइफ को बोलता है कि अरे ये बटन कैसे ऑन करना है. इस तरीके की छोटी छोटी चीजें जो है वो चेंजेस दिखाई जा सकती है ना. आप टीवी सोप्स में देखिए, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स या एडवर्टीजमेंट में देखिए, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स इट इज द मैन हु कम्स ऑफिस से थका आ रहा है और बीवी जो है वो चाय लेकर आ रही है. उल्टा दिखाते हैं that a working woman has come home और husband जो है वो उसके पहले पहुंच गया. Why is it that only wife has to reach home first? Why can't we show a man who has reached home first? So there was this another ad, I keep forgetting the brand name, but उसमें दिखाया था कि the wife is a boss of her husband and वो घर जल्दी छोड़ती है, वो घर जल्दी आती है and she cooks for her husband and then she texts कि food is ready, come home. तो आप ऑफिस स्पेसेस में उसको दिखा रहे हो कि शी इज द बॉस ऑफ हर हस्बैंड और घर पे वो शी इज इनटू द ट्रेडिशनल रोल ऑफ हाउसवाइफ और वाइफ एंड ट्राइंग टू स्ट्राइक अ बैलेंस बिटवीन वर्क एंड लाइफ. तो वी नीड टू चेंज दिस पोर्ट्रेयल. आई मीन आने दो ना, लेट द वाइफ कम होम फर्स्ट, लेट कम होम आफ्टर द हस्बैंड, लेट द हस्बैंड कम फर्स्ट, उसको करने दो घर की क्लीनिंग. और जब मेन आर शोन इन किचन, वो क्या कर रहे हैं, वो रेडी टू ईट आइटम्स जो है या रेडी टू कुक आइटम्स जो है, झटपट आइटम बनते हैं, पॉपकॉर्न बनता है या मिक्स कर दो और खाना बन गया. तो व्हेनेवर दे आर शोन इन किचन, दे आर यूजिंग रेडी टू कुक और रेडी टू फूड आइटम्स. व्हाई इज नॉट अ मैन शोन कुकिंग अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट रेसिपी ऑन स्क्रीन? गाजर का हलवा बनाते हुए क्यों नहीं दिखा रहे हो आप उसको, या कोई जो भी कॉम्प्लेक्स डिश है वो बनाते हुए क्यों नहीं दिखा रहे हो उसको? तो ये कुछ पोर्ट्रेयल्स हैं जो आई थिंक आई एम श्योर मोस्ट ऑफ द मीडिया स्टूडेंट्स, जब आप जाओगे तो चेंज कीजिए इसको. Show men more human. Even in telesoaps, आप देखोगे, why can't we just have a woman who is very frustrated, irritated, जो office का pressure जो आप men को दिखाते हो कि man enters a house with office stress, office politics, and the wife is trying to calm down the person. How many times in advertisement or in any media for that matter, we have seen it the other way, where wife is frustrated with office work or she's tired and then a husband is trying to calm down her. I have not seen any such portrayal on screen. Next question.
Yeah, so till now we have this much of questions.
Okay, we're done with the questions.
Yeah, so
shall we stop, or do you want me to cover more aspects?
No, I guess we have covered a lot more than with which we have think. So we'll conclude this session with these things. So before we are concluding this session, I would like to thank Daivata ma'am, of course. They have joined here, gave us a time and explained so many informational things, and I hope our students has got so many information on the portrayal of women, and which will help them in their in the career also when they enter the media, and they'll change this portrayal and stereotypes. Okay. So thank you ma'am for joining us here. And while concluding this session, I would like to thank founder principal of S.S.T College of Arts and Commerce, Dr. J.C. Puraswani sir. And I would also like to thank IQAC coordinator and vice principal Pushpu Puraswani ma'am. I would also like to thank our DMMC department's HOD Deepak Gawade sir, and all the faculty members who have joined the session, and also not forgetting our students who have joined here and enjoyed the session. So thank you so much ma'am for giving us a time.
Thank you, Prashant. And you can ask questions. I mean, those who are connected online can connect with me on social media.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. If you got any question, we would like to contact you and send the questions over.
Thank you. Bye. My
Thank
best
you.
wishes.